Dedicated employees are imperative for the success of any company, but they're also imperative because they define who you are. SisterLove, the oldest women-centered sexual reproductive justice organization in the southeastern United States, is proud to present InnerViews, a chance for you to meet our fam, our foot soldiers, our everyday ambassadors that transform brick and mortar into places that unapologetically focus on our commitment to the community.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. My name is Sybil Miller. I am the Director of Communications for SisterLove, Inc. And I welcome you to another episode of InnerViews. It is an opportunity for our external family to get to know who makes SisterLove what it is. And that would be all of our lovely and wonderful and dedicated and all the wonderful things you could say, staff who give 100% every day. So with that intro, I am so happy to be with one of my favorites. That is Lakeisha, Coach. So let me back up a little bit because this is something we do on a standard basis here. We tell our pronouns. So mine are she, her, hers. And I'd like to segue to my special guest, Lakeisha. Lakeisha, introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
So I'm Lakeisha, Coach, and I'm the Health Education and Prevention Program Manager here at SisterLove. And my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I oversee our testing and counseling team, also supportive service for women living with HIV. I also coordinate the internships for most university and colleges here and internationally. So I do have the opportunity of meeting a lot of students from diverse backgrounds and cultures, and it just makes my work more interesting because they learn from us and I also learn from them.
I really don't have any more questions. No, I'm joking. And that's awesome. And Lakeisha is, we all have certain ways that we feel about one another and that we interact. And Lakeisha's been with SisterLove for how long now?
Oh, for years. I actually interned with SisterLove in 2012, and the next year in 2013, I was offered a position. And so I've been here since 2013, originally as a staff person.
So one of the things I love about Lakeisha, and you may not be able to tell that today, which is awesome, but I call her personally my quiet giant, because she's one of those go-to people that you typically don't have to ask to help. If she's around, she's one of those proactive thinking folks that knows I can rectify this, I can fix this, or I can prevent this. And it's done before I ask or before anyone asks. The second nickname I might have for her, for all those who are around my age, would be Radar. And Radar was a character on a show called MASH. And the funny thing about him was, and why he earned that name was, before anything could be asked of him in any crisis, it was done. And that would be how I would summarize working with Lakeisha. It is done. And Lord knows we all can use a radar at our workplaces and homes sometimes. So give us a little bit of a fun fact about you that people may not know.
So let's see. I like to sing.
I didn't know that.
Y'all won't either because they're going to put me on Front Street. But growing up, I participated in many choirs. I actually went off to college and sung in a gospel choir, and I also sung with some other organizations and music groups throughout Birmingham, Alabama. So I like to sing, but I'm not using my voice these days. I'm what you call a shower singer. I like to sing like in the shower, actually. Or you sing with the music. But yes, I do love to sing, and singing is something that calms me down if I'm feeling stressed or tense, and so it's something that I do in the quiet in the background.
Okay, we'll have to see if somebody can tape you for us
one
day.
No.
On the serious side, tell us what drew you to SisterLove.
I felt like it was another close knit family. Even though we work in different areas and different fields, we all do come together, and it feels like, oh, this is my auntie, this is my uncle, and we kind of just come together. True. We laugh, we play, but when it's time to do work, we get our work done, and then we go back to play. And then sometimes, even though we go home after hours to do our family work and do our other things outside of SisterLove, we all kind of sometimes meet up. It's like, hey, you want to go here? You want to go there? We kind of meet up and we develop a relationship that would be long lasting, even if you're no longer with SisterLove. So I like the close knit family and feeling like I'm a part of a sister girl clique.
That's a great description, the sister girl clique. I like that. I'm gonna have to use that. And we want to say that there are two gentlemen that work for SisterLove. So they are included with that. They're our brother love clique within the SisterLove clique. Let's say that. So we value them. They bring us some balance. What would you consider thus far the most profound experience that you've had while with SisterLove?
The most profound is knowing that you were able to help someone else that was in need. Mm-hmm. So I get a lot of calls. I do a lot of interaction with clients that come in through testing and counseling. Most of them do not have insurance. And so trying to navigate healthcare system with no insurance is kind of hard. And so I feel like once I've helped one person, I feel like I've done my job. But if I can't help them, then it kind of sits on me and it's restless. And I'm still trying to find a way that I can still provide some type of assistance to the person that's in need.
As wonderful as we are describing working for SisterLove, there are times when it's kind of sad and we have to lean on one another. We lose people that we've become close to. So can you talk about a little bit about how you've had to support or how you've been supported when we've experienced loss or sadness within the position?
We just go to one another and it's like, I need to talk, or, I need a hug, or, sometimes we just may need to vent and get things off our chest. And normally in my position, we do test individual and they may come back reactive for HIV, which we give them a preliminary positive. And in that space, just being in the midst of someone who's just gotten some news that they weren't prepared for, they didn't know, they have questions. And so for us, we still have to maintain a sense of professionalism. And in that same sense, even though we're providing them the emotional support that they need, we still have to wait until we are completely done with them to actually get the support that we need. So typically after a situation like that, we need to take a breather. Hey, I may need to go for the rest of the day, or hey, just give me a minute, let me get myself together, try to talk to one another to get the comfort that we need. Because sometimes some situations, just how we hear how they may have acquired HIV is really like devastating. It's really heartbreaking. And then for individuals that may be young and they'd be like, oh, I just only had one, sexual encounter. And now I get the news that, wow, now what does the rest of my life look like for me? So, just gravitating to who's around and who you feel like can best support you in that time frame, in that space, is what we look for.
And I'm deviating a little bit from some of the other questions that I've asked some of my other colleagues, because what you do primarily is very important to the core business that we do. And so we're a reproductive justice organization, but that breaks down to many functions. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do interviews, because we're giving the interview basically how your perspective is on a lot of things that you do in an interview format. And I think hopefully our audience will at the end of them all see how different we all are, but how we all come together to make this thing called SisterLove a reality. I know I've said it 100 times, and you'll hear it basically on all the rest of the interviews that are going to be given throughout the series. But SisterLove, like any other business, is just a business until you factor in the people. And it's really the people that make it worthy of the quality of work that is delivered. So
I wouldn't have a job without the clients.
and that's how we feel. You're absolutely right. We are who we serve for a reason. And what I find gratifying being the comms director is I get to tell some of those stories. And I wouldn't have those stories without people like Lakeisha, because she interacts with the clients. And those are things that I couldn't dream up. The emotion and the satisfaction that I get uh, for working working with an organization like such comes from those types of stories. So I thank you every day for what you do. I absolutely could not do what she and her staff do on a daily basis.
But even when we leave at our 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, we still take our work home with us. And so we do have those times where, now since we have the calls being forwarded,
right,
we do get some evening calls, and and sometimes those situations just like, oh, it's 8:30 at night. How can I navigate you in the system and everything's closed? And so you try to do your best. Sometimes we become therapists and we're not certified therapists, but just being able to take your time out of what you're doing in your personal life to kind of come around and say, okay, it's 8:30. Let me see what you need. Kind of help them until the next morning where you're able to actually navigate them and refer them to a place that may be open that could accept them at that time.
That's true.
So a lot of times I'm looking for immediate responses, and we have our certain go-to people, but during COVID, everything kind of shut down. And so now we're trying to navigate and figure out, oh, are you still open for services? If not, let me kind of navigate and deter them to this other location where they may get the services that they need. And a lot of women need services that, I don't have insurance, so I don't have access to pap smears, breast exams. And so when we collaborate with other organizations, we get that information and we try to share the resource with everyone that comes in through the office.
Yeah, and it's a robust operation. Prior to COVID, and even since we've all tried to manage this new normal, the team has carried on. Can you talk about, I think it's important to talk about how you were able to carry on what you did and still are doing for those that do not come in to be tested.
So when COVID hit, everything totally shut down, and me and my team kind of went back and forth. It's like, hey, we still receiving calls. People still need to get, tested for HIV and the STIs that we currently were offering. Well, at that point, we had to kind of think innovative. And so we decided to provide the option where we could mail the home kits to the clients that were requesting to still do a HIV test. Only bad thing about that is, hey, we couldn't offer the screenings for the STIs because that is not what we have as a mail option. So it's like, hey, we can't do the STIs, we can do the HIV, but this is the process that we have to go by. Complete this paperwork, we'll mail it. You then have the option to do a telehealth with one of the prevention specialists, and we walk you through the steps to collect the sample, run the sample, and then read the sample with you, all while still having a sexual health and wellness conversation with you. So even though you weren't in office via phone, laptop, tablet, you were still able to engage with us. And then we all still also able to provide them with our Healthy Love Safer Sex kits. And so even anybody who tested, you were automatically mailed one of those kits out. So we still navigated the system. And then in severe cases where someone did potentially receive a reactive on the home kit, we would then kind of figure out the best way to bring them in to do an additional test to make sure that the results that we saw on that test was actually the results that we needed to actually send them out for a confirmatory test.
Did you get all that? And that's why I love SisterLove, because we are grassroots, we are organic, but we had to step it up like the world did and think out of the box, if you will, to make sure that we were still responding to the needs of the community that we serve. So again, I was very happy to be able to be a part of getting that out, the word out, and the message out, and we continue that to current day. Question, what do you think your superhero power is? Or one of them.
I think being a caring person. So me being a caring person, I always feel like I need to sometimes you don't need to, but I feel like I need to be in a space where I'm able to help someone that is in need. So I think that's my superhero power. And I think it probably developed when I was younger because I cared for my brothers and helped my mom out. So I always had this like, I think I need to do this for you. And then sometimes it may be too much and I have to learn how to set my boundaries. Like, okay, you've done all you can do. Now they're going to have to navigate the system because you gave them the tools that they need. Now they need to take the next steps.
When it's all said and done, this is my favorite question asking everybody thus far. When it's all said and done and your journey changes, because journeys in life change, what is it that you would like to be remembered for while at SisterLove?
That's interesting. All of it. The one main thing would be the one you knew you can call on to get through to.
Right on.
I think that would be what I best want to be remembered by. Like,
yeah, that's probably what you will be
person.
remembered. We'll probably be like, don't leave because of that, actually. What quote or saying, whether it be one we know or one that you made up yourself, what is it that you live by or that you remember or that you love the most that maybe speaks a little bit about you or what you do?
Be the change you want to see.
I love that.
So for me, it's like, if I can't change certain situations, how can I expect something else to change? So I want to be the change that I want to see in the world.
It actually makes sense. It kind of speaks to the whole problem solver that I see you as. So rather than wait for someone else to do it, you're just going to do it yourself, right? It's all consistent. I love it. Well, I want to tell you these, I could talk to you, of course, you know, Lakeisha and I talk about 12 times a day anyway. So let me just say before we close, there is a third party. I mention him every episode on this call. And we wouldn't be able to do any of this without him. It is our digital strategist, Bryson Edwards. So thank you, Bryson. Prior to us doing this, jokingly, I will just be transparent because that's the kind of person I am. I just couldn't get it together to get together today at all. And so we were joking that we're going to have a complete blooper reel because of that. And I'm kind of joking. I hope he doesn't do it, but in a way it would be all right.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
If we're going to do it for everybody, then I'm not going to just be the only one. So for every episode, we'll pull a blooper. But thanks again, Bryson, for all your support. And I also want to make a mention, this is the first time we've done thus far where we're both together. So I want to make sure everybody understands that both of us have been vaccinated and
we both agreed.
We both agreed to do this. We could have done it with a mask, but we tested negative and we do not have a fever. So I just want you to know we are, as a public health organization, we are standing true to those guidelines. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you, Lakeisha.
Thank you.
This was fun for joining, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.